Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to discuss about another very important topic related to Angular routing. So basically we are going to talk about the navigateByUrl method, and we'll learn in this session like how to use skipLocationChange with navigateByUrl method. Also we will discuss the requirement of it, like why do we really need this kind of property with navigateByUrl method, and what are the syntax or structure that we are supposed to follow in order to achieve this thing. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use Angular navigateByUrl method, okay, with skipLocationChange. So to demonstrate and to follow the sequential content, you can refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available for all of you in the description box. From there you can take the reference, you can learn the content, and there are 3000 plus freely available content that we can go through, and not for only Angular but for other programming as well. Alright, so let's get started. Here you can see we have one heading that shows Angular 19 course by Sharmit. Then we will put the second heading, and in the second heading I will write the topic of today's name. So here we will simply write firstly the name of the method, that is navigateByUrl method, navigateByUrl method with skip location change, skip location, navigateByUrl method with skip location change. Okay, so this is the topic that we are going to explore in this session. Now we will add one horizontal row here just to separate out these heading with the actual content, and now we are good to proceed further. So for this demo, like, we need one component. So here I have already created multiple components, that is about component, contact component, not found component, and services component. So any one of the component you can use from here. I'm going to use the about component. In case if you don't know how to create the component, you can simply run this command, that is ng for Angular g generate c component and component name about. So once you press enter on it, it will simply create this folder for you with about name, and this folder contains 4 files: css file, html file, spec.ts file, and component.ts file. Now from these files you can easily design your application. We have css, we have html, spec.ts that we will use for the testing purpose, not really now, and then we have component.ts where we will write the actual logic. Okay, so I kept every file as it is default. Just one change I made here in about component.html file. Here, like, it comes with paragraph about works, but I changed it to heading 1 about page. That's the only change I made in this component. Rest all things are by default. Okay, fine. So this thing is ready. Now it's time to set up the route, like configure the route, right? So to configure the route, you can simply go to app.route.ts file. Here you can expand this square bracket, put here like this, path colon, then we will write here about, then comma, then we will write here component, then we will write here about component, and then we are good. Okay, so this thing is ready. That means now the path is configured. Make sure to put comma after this, because in case if you want to add few more component path, so you can define like this by separating it with a comma. But as of now I'm just going to use only one component path, so that's why I'm just using in this way. Okay, so this thing is ready. Now we are good to go with this next step where we will set up the app.component.ts file. So as usual, like, firstly we need a router outlet, because we want to show the output to user on a browser. So for that we will write here in import section router outlet. So this thing is ready, and now you can see we have the second option, that is it is imported here on line number 2. Make sure it is imported, because if it is not, it won't work. Okay, so it should be there. Once it is imported, now we are good to define the constructor and all. So firstly I will put the constructor. In constructor I will write private router colon router. Also you can see it is imported here, so this is also mandatory. And as this is a constructor, we will use opening closing parenthesis curly braces, and then we will write our actual function that we want to call through a button. So here I will give it as a name, go to about without history. Okay, because we are going to use skip location change. So if you don't know about this, although like we discussed the same thing when we learn about the router.navigate method, but let me recap it. So this method, this particular keyword, like when we use skip location change true, that means it will update the page, but it will not impact the URL will not get impacted. Okay, so let's say if you are clicking on a button, so it will take you to about page, but in URL it will not be populated, it will not be impacted, and also it will not log any history for this kind of operation. And that is why we kept the name as go to about without history. Fine, so let's define the method. So this router navigate by URL opening closing parenthesis, inside this we will write the name of the route component, that is about, then we will put a comma curly braces, inside this we will write skip location change as true. Okay, so this thing is ready. Now we are good, just put one semicolon and we are good with this application logic. Now the next thing is we will define the HTML. So to define the HTML, let's go to app.component.html file. Here we will define one button. So you can write like this, and here we'll write go to about without history. Why we are writing without history? Because it will not capture any history if you are using the skip location change as true. Okay, now to call this method, you will find this here. So click go to about history opening closing parenthesis, and then we are good. Now post that I will write here router outlet and save it. And we all know that router outlet is something that will help us to see the output on the browser. That's why I added it. Now we are good to run this application. So ng serve -- open enter. Just wait for a few seconds and then it will show you the output in the browser mode. And there we will verify all the things like headings, output, button, everything. Browser is opened. Here you can see we have one primary heading that shows Angular 19 course by Sharmit. Then we have secondary heading that shows Angular navigate by URL method with skip location change. Okay, then we have one horizontal row that is separating out the headings with the actual content, and then we have this button which shows go to about without history. Now remember one thing, here you can see we have the current URL as localhost 4200. Now when I click on this button, it takes me to the about page. You can see about page history, because in about page only like we kept this thing, right? About page. So that means it is called, but in URL it is not displayed. It is not impacted in URL. So that is the benefit of skip location change, because here when you click on this button, it processes the same process, right? It executes the same page, same HTML file, but it didn't add it in a URL. So when you click on this button, it will show this page, and in URL it shows only localhost 4200. It is not showing about. But if you are not using this skip location change, in that case it will show localhost 4200/about. So in case, yes, there are some situations in project where we are supposed to use a skip location change as true, because we don't want to expose the path in the URL, and in that situation you can utilize it. Okay, so yeah, that's all. I think it is quite clear to all of you like how to use a skip location change with navigate by URL method. Same thing we also discussed with the navigate by URL, and today we are talking about router.navigate method. Now we are talking about router.navigate by URL method. Clear? So yeah, that's all for today. I hope this session is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.